we're getting towards the end. The final bit, it's very short because I'm not a psychologist, but that's the important bit where we know that individuals are not similar. As I said, generative grammar, like cognitive grammar, focuses so much on the homogeneity, the ideal speaker and hearer, that we all have the same mind, so to speak, and that's why we all are native speakers of a tongue. But of course, we know that individuals differ, and psychological research has shown that factors like openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So neuroticism, how much you are sort of feel blue and dislike situations, or whether you're a brave person. Agreeableness, how much you are unconsciously sort of striving to please other people, or whether you are less agreeable and sort of just do your own thing. Extroversion, how much you enjoy experience around people, socializing. Conscientiousness means how much you stick to details and rules, how important that is to you. And openness is, of course, whether you're open to ideas, new ideas, whether you come up with new ideas, or whether you are just sort of not very open and you stick to what you already know. And again, these factors are going to be important. If you think about it, they're part of your cognitive setup. They influence the processing in your mind, in your brain, and that's going to influence your constructional networks. And there are, of course, studies that have shown that openness and extroversion, as well as general and specific intelligence, correlate significantly with verbal creativity, the number of new items you can come up with in a spontaneous experiment, how funny people think your spontaneous jokes are, and so on. But from a construction grammar perspective, that's going to be important, because we would have to take and collaborate with psychologists to think a bit more about, well, do these people who are high in openness, some people have argued that that means that they are less inhibited, with respect to the connections they make. Maybe these are the people who are open to connections of constructions, like not the shiniest penny in the piggy bank, that other people might not have thought of. That everyone sort of has networks that are at least roughly similar, because we all have a similar experience with our language. But for some people, the strength of the connections is not the only thing. They're able to sort of jump to connections which might not be that strong for other people, because they're less inhibited to the entrenched routes to go. And that is something where we need to collaborate with psychologists, because maybe if you are higher in openness, you rely on fewer entrenched constructions as well. You're going to have prefabs, you're going to have constructions because it's really convenient and there's social interaction with it, but it's at least an interesting hypothesis. And extroversion is important because that means you go out and you meet more people, and the more people you meet from a usage-based perspective means you get more input, and the more input you get, that also should affect your constructional network. So the findings that extroversion and openness are significant when it comes to creativity are not surprising, and I think they can be incorporated into construction grammar. And there is also, some first studies on personality types and multimodal constructs, though Hofstede and Pothoff don't necessarily call it multimodal constructs, but they're interested in multimodal utterances. And they have shown that extroversion and neuroticism positively correlate with a certain type of gesture, for example. So that's a big field that could be explored.